Radio Flyer was started by my grandfather, Antonio Pasin, in 1917, and he was a cabinet maker who came from Italy. And when he first came to Chicago, he worked in a variety of different jobs on the west side of Chicago, and eventually he opened up a small garage and started making phonograph cabinets. But soon he was selling more wagons than Victrolas because people who came into his workshop were buying replicas of the little wagon he had made to haul tools around. One of the pivotal moments was when he was visiting a machinery supplier, and he was introduced to the metal stamping production technology of the auto industry. And he had the idea to apply that to a wagon, and that was what enabled him to mass produce it, bring the cost down, and his slogan became "For every boy, for every girl." The first plant was here on the west side of Chicago, just a few blocks from here. And in 1930, he moved to the location where we are now at 6515 West Grand Avenue. I think a couple key ingredients came together to make my grandfather successful. One was that he had a skill that he put to work, so he knew how to make things out of wood with his hands. And then I think he had really a great personality. He smiled all the time. People really connected with him, and I think the great personality, his work ethic, and the skill came together and gave him a lot of success. His first employees were pretty much all Italian immigrants, and so he would do things like have an English tutor come in and teach people English, and he had a really good cafeteria where they had an Italian cook who made really good Italian food for people. So I think starting with him, and then my father was always very committed to being a good place to work, that it's something that's been part of our culture really since the beginning. The first thing when I say that I work at Radio Flyer, and this happens to everyone who works at Radio Flyer, the first thing people do is smile, and then they tell a story. And usually the story is about what they did with their wagon when they were a kid, or how they may use it today with their grandchildren. Anytime a new employee starts in the company now, I give a presentation called Reinventing Radio Flyer Through Goof Ups, Growth, and Gratitude. And I talk about a lot during this time. We made a lot of mistakes, learned a lot, and ultimately we were able to come out with a plastic wagon that became the best-selling one on the market and took back our market share position and has yielded a lot of success. Well, the majority of wagon sales are plastic, but wagon sales now account for less than a third of our total business. So in addition to figuring out the plastic wagon thing, we also went into a category of tricycles, which we never were in before. And when we came out with our first tricycle 10 years ago, our goal was to come out with the tricycle that everyone remembered having as a kid, even though Radio Flyer never made that tricycle. We really have focused on anything a kid 7 and under can ride on. So it's wagons, it's tricycles, it's scooters, it's little, what we call foot to floor, where a child just sits on the item and pushes along with their feet on the floor. And that's a pretty big category, and that's really what's propelled our growth is coming out with a lot of new products that make sense with the brand. That's one of the key things. I'm a big believer in Jim Collins' book, Good to Great, and that's kind of served as some of the intellectual framework of how we're trying to really build a great company. We know the only thing that's going to really fuel our growth is our ability to get great talent on board here. So if we combine our brand with great talent, we feel like we're going to get growth and lots of success and have a lot of fun along the way. A lot of times when people talk about the best places to work, usually there's a lot of talk about the lists of perks and kind of neat things people do. And I think those are important, and we have those. We have a lot of events and celebrations, and we compensate people well, and we have a really great benefits package. One of the things that makes us such a great place to work is that the people who work here really know and see how their work affects the company's results. And we have a mission here, and our mission is to bring smiles and create warm memories. When people work here, they grow and develop as people. We have a very structured, clear goals process, so that we have key company goals every year that are shared with everyone in the company, and then each individual's goals line up to the company goals, and we call it line of sight, so that the goals I'm working on, I know how that's affecting the company goal, I know how the company's doing, and I feel that I'm having a major impact in making a difference. One of the reasons why we have so many positions open is because it's our goal to double our sales in the next 5 years. And the only way that we're going to do that is if we get top talent on board. A lot of our positions right now are in product development, so we're looking for great industrial designers and mechanical engineers who can come out with all of our great new products that are going to fuel that growth. I think that where our growth is going to come from is anything that kids can play with outside. I think that our brand makes sense with that. And one of the things that we get really fired up about here is the fact that we get kids outside and active and playing. And one of the things that makes me so motivated to build this and make it into something truly great is I kind of feel like I owe it to everyone that's gone before us here at the company, because the reason why our brand is so strong is because of all that work through the years that all the people here have done. And I think we kind of owe it to them to make it even better and bigger for the future.